Well, it's a great pleasure to be reminiscing about IUCN, the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, its World Commission on Environmental Law, and the IUCN Academy of Environmental Law. This is the 16th annual colloquium, when I worked with 70 professors from the Asia and Pacific region with IUCN before the Academy existed. In the 1990s, we began a process of building environmental law education throughout Asia. And after 2 summers of work based at the National University of Singapore with professors from all over Asia, the assistance of the Asian Development Bank, these academics, who are now members of the IUCN Commission on Environmental Law, asked the question, what's next? You've brought us all together, we're now teaching, how do we keep in touch? How do we continue? And out of that was born the idea for the IUCN Academy of Environmental Law. It came out of the academic community. It took several years to persuade the Commission and the Council of IUCN, and then the World Conservation Assembly or Congress, the General Assembly of IUCN, to agree that there should be, under the auspices of the Commission, a new independent organization, the IUCN Academy of Environmental Law. We decided it would be made up of universities and their law faculties, not individuals, so that there had to be an institutional commitment to the substantial education of new legal specialists in the field of the environment. We also agreed that we should have an annual colloquium that would be hosted by a college or university, but it always had to be in a different part of the world every year. And the reason was we wanted local schools to be able to attend without too much economic cost. So there'd be a real advantage in shifting the colloquium geographically. A great advantage also meant you could use local expertise, local case studies, bring the wisdom and experience of each region of the world to the Academy, and it could truly be global without being oriented toward or even dominated by any region or special area. And this has worked. We began with a secretariat at the University of Ottawa in Canada, and this secretariat worked very well for 10 years. And after the 10th year, they decided we should give some recognition to at least those who came to each one of the 10 annual colloquia up till that time. And no one had been to all 10. And so this was confirmation that our theory of moving the colloquium around the world was a good theory. It worked. It enabled all economic disadvantages to fall evenly across all regions, and the benefits the same way. Out of this, we produced a book, several books each year. That has grown enormously. We now have a committee on teaching and a committee on research. We've continued to spin off other projects. At this 16th colloquium of the Academy here in Strathclyde University in Glasgow, the governing board decided it might be even good to bring in the experiential learning of the moot courts, and the Tony Aposa Intergenerational Moot Court could become a collaborative effort in conjunction with the Academy. So steps are proceeding in that direction. And this to me is splendid, because it's the organic growth, the evolution of a global community of scholars building up the field of environmental law, the doctrine, the teaching, the experience, the practice, and the search for remedies. We'll need these remedies ever more during the Anthropocene, because we have created a world in which the ecological conditions of the planet are in great flux. They are changing rapidly. This will cause great disadvantages to different places as storms or floods or sea level rise require new forms of environmental law, new systems for environmental stewardship. And governments are going to be so busy reacting to the problems that they're not going to have the time to look around the corner and think into the near future, or even the further future, and talk about what legal and social systems can a society cultivate to adapt to the new climate conditions, to continue the mitigation and elimination of fossil fuels from our economy, and ultimately to achieve the visions of a sustainable, just, and verdant world for people and all nature. That's the hope, I think, for both the Commission on Environmental Law and the Academy of Environmental Law. We're sharing a similar set of legal values. We are promoting the ecological rule of law. We are building up the new kinds of ideas in law that can carry us forward. It was a great privilege to have chaired the Commission and fought the early battles to get the Academy going. It's an even greater privilege to come to these meetings with my graduate students and let them give the papers, and I don't have to do any of the organizing. I really commend both the governing board and the universities like the University of Strathclyde for their stepping up to the plate and carrying on the sustained commitment to legal education in our field of ecological law.